Philippe Coutinho. Barcelona thought they were getting the next Neymar. Instead, they burned 145 million euros on a ghost. In January 2018, Coutinho made his dream move from Liverpool to Barcelona. It was one of the biggest transfers in history, and on paper, it made sense. He was creative, explosive, and at the peak of his powers. But something changed the moment he landed in Spain. From day one, the fit felt off. Coutinho looked lost in Barcelona's rigid system, forced to play out wide or deeper than he liked. He couldn't find space, couldn't link up with Messi the way they'd hoped, and worst of all, he stopped taking risks. He went from magician to passenger. The fans noticed, the whistles started, and the pressure crushed him. Then came the loan to Bayern Munich, a reset, they said, but it turned into a full-blown nightmare for Barcelona, because in the Champions League quarterfinal, Bayern demolished Barcelona 8-2, and Coutinho, he came off the bench, scored twice, and assisted another, against the very club still paying his wages. It was one of the most brutal own goals in transfer history, and it confirmed what everyone already feared. This move wasn't just bad, it was cursed. When he returned, it got worse. Injuries piled up. His confidence was shattered. Barcelona, already drowning in debt, offloaded him to Aston Villa just to get his salary off the books. Coutinho was supposed to be a star. Instead, he became a symbol of broken dreams and of how fast a 145 million euros gamble can explode in your face. Eden Hazard. Real Madrid thought they were getting a superstar. What they got was one of the most expensive disappointments in football history. In 2019, Hazard made the leap from Chelsea to Madrid. He had just come off a monster season in the Premier League. 21 goals, 17 assists, trophies, and highlight reels on repeat. He was electric, confident, impossible to stop one-on-one. And for over 100 million euros, he was expected to become the guy in Madrid after Cristiano Ronaldo's exit. But the move was cursed from day one. Hazard arrived to preseason out of shape, not injured, just not ready. And once the injuries did start, they never stopped. Ankle surgery, muscle tears, constant niggles. Every time he looked close to turning the corner, something broke again. In 4 full seasons, Hazard only managed 7 La Liga goals. Not in one season. In total, he went from starring in England to barely making the bench in Spain, and as the team moved forward, he got left behind. Real Madrid fans turned on him. The media called him a waste of space, and by 2023, both sides had enough. Madrid ripped up his contract, and Hazard quietly retired from football at just 32 years old. It was supposed to be the peak of his career. Instead, it was the end. Antoine Griezmann. Barcelona spent 120 million euros on Antoine Griezmann, only to spend the next 2 years trying to figure out where he fit. In 2019, Griezmann made the switch from Atletico Madrid to Barca in a deal filled with drama. There were leaked documentaries, legal disputes, and a transfer saga that dragged for over a year. When he finally arrived, expectations were sky high. World Cup winner, Atletico's main man, a guaranteed success. But from the first whistle, it was clear this was never going to work. Griezmann was a natural second striker, thriving off space, timing, and freedom. But at Barcelona, that role already had a name, Lionel Messi. Griezmann was shoved out wide, dropped deeper, or stuck in systems that never played to his strengths. He didn't complain publicly, but the frustration showed. He looked uncomfortable, overthinking, passive. In 2 full seasons, he only scored 22 La Liga goals. Not terrible, but not even close to what 120 million euros was supposed to buy. Behind the scenes, the club was spiraling. Financial chaos, wages ballooning, results slipping, and Griezmann, despite his effort, became the face of a miscalculated era. In 2021, Barcelona gave up. They loaned him back to Atletico, and a year later sold him for just 40 million euros, taking an 80 million euros hit. It wasn't his fault entirely, but in Barcelona's long list of transfer disasters, this one left a mark. Griezmann came in as a superstar. He left as an expensive mismatch. Ousmane Dembele. Barcelona didn't just try to replace Neymar, they tried to clone him. 105 million euros for one of the brightest young wingers in Europe. Explosive, unpredictable, two-footed, and just 20 years old. But from the moment Dembele stepped into Camp Nou, things started falling apart. In his first La Liga start, he tore his hamstring, out for 4 months. That would become the theme of his Barca career. Muscle injuries, tendon problems, recurring setbacks. By 2021, Dembele had missed over 100 games through injury, nearly half the matches he could have played. And when he was fit, the flashes of brilliance were there. A solo run, a screamer off his left, a ridiculous assist off his right. But the consistency never showed up. Behind the scenes, things got weirder. Late to training, questionable diet. At one point, he was reportedly addicted to playing video games until 3 a.m. Barcelona brought in nutritionists and private chefs just to keep him on track. By the time Xavi took over, the club was fed up. He was benched, told to leave, and then, somehow, brought back into the fold. In 2023, PSG triggered his release clause for 50 million euros, half of what Barca paid. And just like that, the Dembélé experiment was over. He was supposed to be Neymar's successor, but in the end, he was just another warning sign. Talent alone doesn't carry a 100 million euros price tag. Paul Pogba. Manchester United let him leave for free in 2012, then spent £89 million to bring him back, and in the end, he walked out the door again for free. When Pogba rejoined United in 2016, it was the biggest transfer in football history. He had dominated Serie A with Juventus, won 4 straight league titles, and was being hailed as the most complete midfielder in the world. The hype was off the charts, and United made sure everyone felt it. New branding, new commercials, even a Drake shoutout. The Pogba era had officially begun, but on the pitch, it never clicked. Pogba's United career was a roller coaster, and not the fun kind. One week, he was scoring screamers and running the show. The next, he was drifting through games, drawing criticism for everything from his body language to his haircuts. He clashed with Jose Mourinho, struggled with injuries, and never looked fully comfortable in any system they tried. At times, he felt like the only player trying to do something creative. At others, he looked completely detached from the team, and the numbers didn't help. 6 seasons, 0 Premier League titles, 1 Europa League, 1 League Cup. By 2022, United fans were fed up. Pogba was fed up. His contract ran down. And just like that, he left again for nothing. Back to Juventus, the same club United bought him from. United paid £89 million, covered massive wages for 6 years, and ended up exactly where they started. If there's ever been a modern definition of a full circle disaster, this was it. Romelu Lukaku. Chelsea broke the bank. The £97.5 million. The club's most expensive signing ever. And for what? 1 goal and 1 interview that blew the whole thing up. In 2021, Lukaku returned to Stamford Bridge after firing Inter Milan to the Serie A title. He was in peak form, strong, clinical, confident. Chelsea thought they were finally solving their striker problem. But less than 6 months in, it all unraveled. Lukaku started strong. A couple goals early on. Fans were hyped. But then, silence. Game after game, he looked disconnected. No movement, no chemistry, no presence. It got so bad that in one match against Crystal Palace, he touched the ball 7 times in 90 minutes, a Premier League record, for the wrong reasons. Then came the interview. Mid-season, out of nowhere, Lukaku sat down with Italian media and openly admitted he was unhappy at Chelsea, said he missed Inter, criticized Tuchel's tactics. It was a bombshell, and it exploded instantly. Tuchel benched him. The dressing room turned cold. The fans, furious. From that point on, it was over. Lukaku never regained his place. Chelsea loaned him back to Inter, then tried to offload him permanently. No happy ending, no redemption arc. They paid nearly £100 million for a player who publicly wanted out within months, and in return, a handful of goals and a broken relationship. Sometimes, it's not the transfer fee that ruins a deal, it's the words that come after. Alexis Sanchez. This one didn't cost a fee, but it might be the most expensive free signing in Premier League history. In January 2018, Manchester United pulled off a coup, hijacking Alexis Sanchez from under Manchester City's nose. In return, they sent Henrik Mkhitaryan to Arsenal. United fans were buzzing. Alexis had just been carrying Arsenal on his back, scoring 30+ goals a season and tearing up defenses for fun. But at Old Trafford, it was like someone hit the brakes. He wore the iconic number 7 shirt, the same one worn by Ronaldo, Beckham, Cantona, and then proceeded to put in performances that made fans question if he was even trying. Misplaced passes, heavy touches, no goals, no spark, no energy. In 45 appearances, he scored 5 times. The numbers were bad, but the wages even worse. £500,000 per week. Yes, per week, making him the highest paid player in Premier League history at the time, and he was barely making the bench. Then came the quote that sealed it. Sanchez later admitted that after just 1 training session, he called his agent and asked if he could tear up the contract and go back to Arsenal. United fans couldn't believe it, neither could the board. By 2020, the club had seen enough. They terminated his contract 2 years early and let him join Inter Milan for free. They paid him nearly £40 million in wages. In return, 1 good piano commercial and 5 goals. Alexis Sanchez wasn't just a flop. He was a warning. Sometimes, the worst transfers don't come with a price tag. They come with a weekly bill that never stops bleeding. Fernando Torres. Chelsea didn't just break the British transfer record. They broke a player. In January 2011, Fernando Torres swapped Liverpool for Chelsea in a stunning £50 million move, a fee that shook the football world. At Anfield, he was untouchable, quick, lethal, ice cold in front of goal. Defenders feared him. Fans adored him. He was El Niño. And Chelsea thought they just signed a guaranteed 30-goal striker. But from the moment he arrived, something was off. He looked slower, hesitant, lost. He went 903 minutes before scoring his first goal. That's over 10 full matches of waiting and watching confidence drain from a player who used to thrive on swagger. And when the goals did come, they were few and far between. In 110 Premier League appearances for Chelsea, he scored just 20 times. At Liverpool, he'd done that in a single season twice. His most infamous moment, an open goal miss against Manchester United that practically became a meme. And yet, somehow, the cruelest twist is that he still played a role in Chelsea's biggest triumphs, assisting the winning goal in the 2012 FA Cup final and scoring that unforgettable breakaway goal against Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final. But let's be honest, Chelsea didn't spend £50 million for moments. They bought a world-class striker and ended up with a long, painful reminder that form isn't guaranteed by a price tag. Torres left Stamford Bridge quietly, a shadow of what he once was. Not hated, not booed, just broken. Ángel Di María. He arrived as Manchester United's record signing, a Champions League winner, Real Madrid's engine, fast, technical, world-class. United fans thought they were getting a Galactico. Instead, they got a one-season mystery. In 2014, Di María signed for nearly £60 million, a British record at the time. His first few games, electric, a cheeky chip against Leicester, assists flying in. It looked like United had finally found their spark post-Ferguson, but then everything fell apart. Louis van Gaal's rigid system didn't suit him. The tactics were slow, the positioning was awkward, and off the pitch, things got dark. In January, Di Maria's home was the target of an attempted burglary. His family was shaken. He stopped feeling safe in Manchester. From that moment on, his form vanished. He looked like he didn't want to be there, and honestly, he didn't. By season's end, he was benched. In the summer, he skipped United's preseason tour, and without much of a goodbye, he signed for PSG. Just 1 year after arriving, United took a financial loss. Di Maria barely spoke about the club afterward, and the whole thing felt like a transfer that never truly happened. From record signing to reluctant passenger, Di Maria's United stint was a ghost chapter in a world-class career. Nicolas Pepe. Arsenal didn't just break their transfer record, they shattered it. £72 million for a winger who had lit up. League One with Lille, 22 goals, 11 assists, unstoppable on the counter. The expectations, sky high. The result, a 4-year disappearing act. From day one, Pepe looked like a player caught between two worlds. He had moments, a stunning free kick here, a silky dribble there, but no consistency. He'd dance past 3 defenders, then sky the finish into the upper deck, or disappear for 80 minutes, then pop up with a meaningless assist. And it wasn't just form, it was fit. Arsenal kept changing managers, systems, tactics, and Pepe never found his role. One day he was a winger, next a bench option. Sometimes he wasn't even in the squad. Then came the stats. 112 games, 27 goals. Not terrible, but for £72 million, it wasn't even close. Behind the scenes, the club was shifting direction. Arteta wanted intensity, pressing, discipline. Pepe was never that guy. By 2022, he was loaned back to France. In 2023, Arsenal didn't sell him. They terminated his contract. He left quietly. No fee, no farewell, just gone. From record signing to write-off, Nicolas Pepe didn't just fail to deliver. He became the poster boy for a club that gambled big and lost even bigger. Kepa Arrizabalaga, the most expensive goalkeeper in football history, £71 million, a record-breaking transfer that was supposed to anchor Chelsea for a decade. Instead, it became a full-blown soap opera. In 2018, Chelsea signed Kepa from Athletic Bilbao to replace Thibaut Courtois. He was young, confident, sharp with his feet, exactly what they needed. But it didn't take long for cracks to show. Shot stopping, inconsistent. Command of the box, weak. Confidence, disintegrating. By his second season, Kepa had the worst save percentage in the entire Premier League. Every shot felt like a potential goal. Every cross into the box felt like chaos. And Chelsea fans started holding their breath for the wrong reasons. But the moment that defined it all, the 2019 League Cup final. Extra time, penalties looming. Maurizio Sarri wanted to sub Kepa off for Caballero, a penalty specialist. But Kepa refused. Waved off the substitution, stood his ground, and defied his manager on live television in front of millions. It was surreal. Sarri nearly stormed off. Chelsea lost the shootout. After that, the writing was on the wall. He lost his starting spot. Chelsea bought Edouard Mendy, and Kepa, once the face of their future, was now a backup with a massive wage packet. Eventually, they loaned him out, then offloaded him permanently. No drama, no noise, just a quiet end to one of the strangest big money transfers ever. Chelsea didn't just break the record for a goalkeeper. They set the gold standard for how bad it can go. João, Felix. 126 million euros. At 19 years old, Atletico Madrid went all in, betting their entire post-Griezmann era on one teenage prodigy. João Felix wasn't just expensive, he was historic. The fourth most expensive player in football history, and with that price tag came sky-high expectations. He had just lit up the Portuguese league with Benfica, blending creativity, flair, and ruthless finishing. Atletico saw the next Cristiano. What they got was a years-long identity crisis. From day one, the fit made no sense. Felix was a free-roaming playmaker. Diego Simeone's system, rigid, defensive, all grit, no freedom. It was like forcing a violin into a rock band. He showed glimpses, clever flicks, wonder goals, brilliant vision, but never consistently. Injuries stalled his rhythm. His body language grew heavy, and with every quiet performance, the pressure grew louder. By 2023, the relationship was broken. Felix wanted out. Simeone had moved on. He was loaned to Chelsea, where things got even worse. Then to Barcelona, where he looked better, but still not like a 126 million euros player. In 2024, Atletico finally sold him permanently for just under 50 million euros. A brutal financial loss, and a massive chunk of his early career spent trying to be someone he wasn't in a system that never fit. João Felix wasn't a fraud. He was a star signed by the wrong club at the wrong time under the wrong manager. And that 126 million euros, it became a lesson. Talent matters, but context, that's everything. These weren't just bad transfers. They were cautionary tales of pressure, timing, ego, and systems that never fit. Because in football, a price tag can buy talent, but it can't guarantee success. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe for more deep dive football stories, and let us know in the comments which transfer do you think was the most cursed, and what should we cover next?